What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Push Pull Profit. Today, I'm going to be chatting with Ben, who has the weirdest fucking niche of all time. And rather than me trying to explain what the fuck Ben does, because I'm not entirely sure, I'm not even sure he's entirely sure, I'm going to let him explain to you, what the fuck do you do?
Well, we're about to find out. I've been working on this since you told me. Whenever we were in the Jocko Muster fucking 2 years ago, and you said I need to work on my elevator pitch. I've been working on it ever since, and we're no further on. Essentially, I coach hackers, people who work in cybersecurity, and the best way I can put it is I help them unfuck decades of neglect on their health and well-being.
Okay. So, I mean, if anyone's taken anything already, it's that your niche of 30-year-old men who want to get in better shape probably isn't tight enough.
Nah, definitely can be tighter.
But probably a good point then. You didn't get your level 3 in a fucking packet of Cocoa Pops like everyone else these days, and then immediately proclaim that you were the hacker's coach.
No, I didn't. But I get asked this quite often from my clients, like, was this in your plan? I was like, if I had a fucking plan this out 5 years ago, I would have got fucking locked up.
So you'd be in jail, 100%.
Yeah.
You would be incarcerated for having this as a plan. All right, so you had to earn the right to work with more specific people, and it has gone from, I assume like me, everyone with a heartbeat and a wallet, to whatever the fuck you just said.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Essentially, started working on the gym floor, one-to-one coaching anybody with a heartbeat and a wallet. Then there was a global shit show that shut everything down and moved fully online, and enter a cybersecurity Jesus. I coached him, did a good job, more referrals, and then gradually from that point realized there was many people in the same or similar industries with the same or similar problems, and then decided, do you know what, I'm just going to fucking lean into this because these people have life-threatening problems and need help.
So you are the solution.
Yeah.
Right, I like it. Okay, sweet. Well, now that we know, well, I'm not sure we do know. Now
Now
that
that
people are like 3% clear on what you do, because no matter how many times you tell me, I can't retain it.
I live it day to day and I still don't know.
I can't retain it. It's easier to tell people you're a drug dealer when they ask.
Yeah.
I mean, you also started a supplement company.
Yep.
And built a gym, but not for people.
Yep.
Okay, explain in a couple
The
of
supplements,
sentences.
the supplements company came out of, again, a conversation with Dave and I guess just an interest in supplements and a want to create something of my own that I thought I could do better than other people, specifically for the people that I work with. The gym, fuck knows, I don't know how I ended up in that situation. I think I texted you one day and like, I'm going to buy this unit and we're going to put a gym in it. What do you think? You said, that's a fucking great idea, which was actually truthfully not the expectation of what I thought you were going to say.
Well, no, I came and saw it and then said, don't buy it. I said, buy it, came and saw it and said, don't buy it because it's got shit internet. But we fixed that problem. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so, I mean, now that people are 4% clearer on what it is that you do, the brief was from Chaz, building the businesses, kind of building the business of our dreams. What's that journey been like? Like, that's our key prompt at this moment in time.
Yeah, what does it look like, or what does it look and feel like to be building and working in the business of your dreams?
What does it look and feel like to be working and building in the business of our dreams? It feels good. I feel like I said that to Ben. We've only been here, like, I should point out at this stage, in case you were wondering, we've upgraded the back garden. I gave Sarah a little bit of budget to, no, I didn't. We got to Ibiza, we've got our event this week. So we are at the Team Villa, HQ, the compound. And we only got, how long have we been here? 2 hours? Max. Anyway, we got here, went straight to the venue, and I sat with Ben, and I said to him, even yesterday before we got here, the business of my dreams is the business where I get to sit and work with mates. Like, okay, like, let's not get it twisted. If we were fucking skin, it would still be good, but it wouldn't be the business of my dreams.
It wouldn't be this.
It wouldn't be this.
Yeah.
This is it. This, but in a high-rise hotel, isn't quite as fun.
In a budget Hilton somewhere.
Yeah, we've done that. But yeah, I feel like for me, it's that part. It's like even just when we got to the venue earlier on, just sitting down in the fucking chaos of 4,000 conversations. Matt, where's this? Matt, where did I get that? Fucking people from the venue asking, us trying to find things. Just getting the laptops out and working around the table, I think for me is the money shot.
I think because this has been top of mind just from recent content production. The goal initially was to have the business that creates the freedom to do whatever the fuck I want, which ironically is continue to work, but doing it in cool places with cool people.
Yeah, and then now we've travelled down a dangerous hole of, I always have to caveat when I say that, that there is no should attached to that. So I'm not saying, I agree. So I completely share your mentality, which is why we're like stepbrothers here, like the film. But I'm not here to tell anyone else that I think that work is all you should do. I work because I like working, and the business of my dreams is one that, realistically, I said to Chaz on the camera earlier on, I have never worked harder than the last 7 days, something like that. Like I've been in the fucking hurt lockout. That's the business of my dreams, which I think is the opposite to a lot of people.
I've got a question for you both. Obviously now you're working in the business of your dreams. What did it feel like when you first found that momentum going from your point of view, Ben, gym floor PT to fucking like, holy shit, you've just stumbled across this like hacker society and you just had this massive influx of clients. And then Matt, what did it feel like for you going from PT to now in the business of your dreams doing mentorship? How did that feel, that transition?
Can that dead squirrel thing hear you, or do I need to proclaim the question?
Squirrel thing,
It heard you.
I think for me it's been, I guess, an evolution. If we're talking about specifically when I fell into what I do now, there was a change in my mentality around it. I realized quite early on with the people that I work with that there's something much bigger than just me here. Like I genuinely see this and what I do as an opportunity to change the narrative of an entire industry. Like people who work in tech and cybersecurity are fucked, for want of a better phrase. And with the stuff that I do and the influence that Dave has within the industry and continuing to grow as a movement, there's a genuine opportunity to make a real change within an entire industry, and not just in the nicest way possible, help people get in shape to come to Ibiza or fucking drop a dress size for a wedding. I think I lost interest in that, and I lost interest in the coaching side. And then when I gained the bigger mission, I got completely locked in. I think it's the knowing exactly what the thing is you're trying to create allows you to be able to say yes to the stuff that allows you to create that and no to the stuff that doesn't.
Yeah, fair. I think like Chaz's question with like I think the way I understood the question is like the point in the graph where it's like tick, 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 and then poof, and you hit the rocket.
I would imagine there's a point where you almost feel like you're chasing, or like you're just constantly chasing. Like your workload will go up so much when you came across that sort of, as you said there, initial spike in clients and that realization that you have the opportunity to reshape an industry.
I think for both of us, it's like it's important for anyone listening to understand the point before that as much. Like I think this part, if we've got a graph that's like it starts and it's got this really slow inclination, if we've got like results in time, it's really slow inclination, and then there is a point at which that just turns and goes like fucking 60 degrees up. And I think the sexy story is the 60-degree line, but the valuable story is everything that happened before the point that the graph changed direction. Because like this looks great. It is great. Thanks for asking. But sorry you can't make it. I think like the bit before, there's a long period of time where you're wondering why the fuck it's not working, why you are getting up at 4 to drive to the gym in the dark
Or
by yourself. Yeah, fucking with cold, unheated gym to work with unmotivated clients who turn up late and then complain and then spend every second of every session trying to talk to you about their wife, husband, kids. Everyone's an asshole in their life rather than actually being interested in the session. And I think that point is, like I always say to coaches, I call it like the messy middle, which is like you've started, you had the uninformed optimism of, oh, this will be fun, let's do personal training. And then you settle into that and then you realize it's like, oh, this is actually quite shit a lot of the time.
I think with the like my personal, whenever I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna do this PT thing, it's the going from a minimum wage job and the knowledge of like, well, I can do this and get paid £30 an hour. That sounds fucking class. But the reality is, you do the hours, but then you have to do all of the other shit on the other side of it.
Yeah, it's 30 hours of PT at £30 an hour plus 30 hours of admin at £0 per hour.
Yeah.
So it's like at very best £15 an hour, but it's worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like, I'll be honest, like I'd be lying if I said there wasn't lots of times when I was a PT that I was like, this is shite. And at one point I dusted the suit and tie off and said to Sarah, I was like, I am going for an interview in engineering because like, I don't know if I can deal with clients leaving, maybe 3 or 4 clients left one weekend. And I'm like, fuck this, applied for a job. So I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and be like, oh, I've never thought about leaving. I've thought about leaving lots of times, but for me, the interview that I went to was the burn the boats moment. I was like, it's the, if you want to take the island, burn the fucking boats. And then that day, I realized the other island that I had arrived at, the engineering island that I came from previous, was fucking awful. And it's like the grass is greener on the other side is kind of the popular kind of saying, but I think it's the grass is greener where you water it.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized the other side was greener because it was fucking fertilized with shite. It was awful. So for me, burnt the boats, and I think that was the start of the last bit of the slow graph.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is a commitment thing. There's like I think a lot of coaches, and I was one of a lot of coaches that wasn't fully committed to the thing, but also not committed through a lack of clarity of how big it could be, what I actually wanted. Again, with no shoot attached. Should it be $1 million? Should it be 100 grand? Like, it doesn't matter. It's personal, but without a clear goal, it's like when a client wants to lose weight. That's it.
I want to lose weight, get healthy. What
How
the
much
fuck's that
weight?
mean?
How healthy?
Yeah.
What does healthy mean? So I think for me, it was that.
I think that it's something that you taught me, or I guess made me realize, is the delayed gratification thing. It's just the ability to work at the thing with the absolute blind faith that it will work out at some point, and it's unreasonable with the amount of work that you put into it that it will not work out every day on repeat.
Yeah, like delusion.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute fucking delusion. And like, this is the Hormozy thing of like, the work works on you more than you work on it. The work is the point. So like, when I burnt the boats, up to that point, I was turning up and I would fucking lean on the counter between sessions and moan to other PTs about people being late, the gym being cold, being up early, not earning as much as I wanted. Says the guy that spends the hour break moaning about not. It blows my fucking mind to think I ever did that, but I did, and I would be doing everyone else a disservice by not admitting that. And then when I burnt the boats, for me, it's like the commit, and I think the clarity of like. I remember very clearly sitting in the back. I've told you this, sitting in the back of a car. We'd gone for lunch at like those eat all you can Chinese buffet things. Not eat all you want, eat all you can is how I understand those. You know that, Chas.
Challenge accepted.
Diarrhea accepted. Anyway, we went to that and we were in the car on the way back and they were like talking about goals. And one of the guys, I want to open a gym. What for? A PT studio. And they were all sharing. And I was in the back. I remember being back right. And they came to me last and said, what about you? I was like, £1 million. What do you mean £1 million? £1 million in a year. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. It can't be any fucking clearer. Like, and then the sentence was, I am going to. Not I want to. Everyone else was I want to. I remember that very clearly. And then there was a moment of silence after I said it, followed by fucking hysterics. Like the car was shaking. Like, are you all right, bro? But I think the clarity and the commitment of burning the boats didn't start the upward trend, but lit the fuse on the upward trend.
Yeah, I remember again. Whenever I started coaching, the gym was brand new, so everybody started fresh, and everybody sort of had to sit down with the management and the fitness, and there was that like conversation. It's like, what would you like to make in a year? And I was like, I don't know, like 100 grand. Like
biggest number I can think of.
Yeah, like that's whenever you've made it. That's all I know. Like first fucking 2 weeks within training, and there's like that like no seriously, like what do you want to make? And I was like, I mean I am.
Remember you told me this? Yeah.
Like that is it. Like that's it. And I again specifically remember. There was a coach that let's just say I didn't gel with at the start, and he was very much a loudmouth, wanted to be everybody's mate in the gym, and it just wasn't my guy. And I remember him, he was mentoring someone else. He was a boxing coach, and I mean, if you're watching, it's you. He was giving it the fucking chat about you can make whatever the fuck you want in this industry, like in coaching you can do this, you can do that. I used to make £1,000 a week and this and that, and then give it the excuse of I didn't want to do ours. And I was like, I mean, you've put a ceiling on yourself by saying
you can make £1,000 a week.
And I'm not saying that's like there's no slight on that whatsoever, but I do think that there was almost immediately a cap on that. And I think the initial naivety of going into those things is just making that fucking arbitrary number. It doesn't really matter what it is, but also not actually knowing what is possible. And there are a couple of times that you have been involved in that I was like opened to this like next level of like, well, this person's making this much and that much, and I'm like, you mean you don't get to just making 10 grand a month and then that's it? Like, we've completed it. And there was so much more, and I'm like, well, if that fucking person can do it, there's absolutely no reason that I can't do it.
We've spoken about that a few times where it's like we've seen behind the curtain is what we've always said. When you enter another room and you're like, oh wait, there are There's another
More levels?
level
What?
to this game. You're like, holy shit. Because you think, and I will circle back on what you said. No slant on $1,000 a week.
No.
Fucking great money.
Mhm.
And I think this is where you need to pick your financial goal for you. And if you don't know, just fucking make one up.
Yeah.
Because the client that says, I want to lose weight, versus the client says, I want to lose weight, and you say, well, how much? And they say, I don't know, 8 kilos. That guy will do better
Yeah.
because he has clarity in the direction of his goal.
But he will get to that goal and then realize that there's more and wants to lose more. The same way that we have gotten to the goals and went, well, I mean, we're here. What next? There's
Until
no
he-
fucking fanfare. There's nothing else. Like, I just want to keep going and do more.
Well, you said there where you're like, oh, I feel like I've made it. How do you
Never.
know? How do you know?
Well, we made it in terms of hit the number, but then realized there are more numbers that come after that. And I'll say on this, like, it doesn't always have to be. There's two sides of this. It doesn't always have to be the financial goal. It is, but the other side is being able to do it. And I remember very specifically a couple of times, you're like, I'm literally sat here in my fucking house in my slippers, doing this, making this money. Like that
making
was
more
where we
than
were
a
at.
GP
Yeah.
in my slippers,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
house coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we need to definitely spend some time on what has made it. I think that's definitely important. I think it's an angle worth looking at. Like, how do you know? Like, what is the? It's hard, isn't it? But what has made it?
I think it's a moving goalpost. I think it's the set the target, do the thing. And again, I very specifically remember sat in the car outside the gym, and I can't remember what the fuck we were talking about. I was like, I want to have 100 clients. And you were like, fuck having 100 clients. And I was like, fuck you. What do you know? I want to have 100 clients. Then I got to 100 clients. And I was like, phew, fuck, this is a lot of work.
We're not doing this again, brothers.
But it's the getting there, then having the realization that that's not the thing. And again, I spoke about this the last time we were here, that it's a privileged position to be in, to realize that the financial isn't the sole thing. It is a big driver, and I'm like not saying that it is not by any stretch of the imagination. Like, there is a reason that we do this, but it's a very privileged position to be in, to realize that that's not the thing, and there's a lot of freedom that comes off the back of that. Okay, right, well, if that's not the thing, what is the thing? And then lean into doing that. And for me, it's evolved since then. Like, even more recently, it's been able to manage my time better, that I can do all the delivery stuff on a specific day, and then there's the on the business stuff that we spoke about for the past couple of weeks. That's what I get the enjoyment out of, the building the thing, the solving the problems, and the fucking hard graft that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. And to the point that I said yesterday, I think, to you, I want to talk about when we're away, that I want to find out how we do more. Like, I realized that the past couple of weeks has been insane, and we probably feel and have felt before that we are at capacity. But
Good.
I want to work
I like
out.
to feel like that.
Yeah, but I know there's more. I know it can be done because we've done it many times.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple of things that came up when you were talking. So there's the freedom thing, which I want to touch on, but there's also, so coaches come to me all the time and they'll say that there's two camps of people. There's the, I am motivated by money and I don't mind sharing it. And I think there's sub camps of each person. So let's just put them in two camps. There's the, I'm motivated by money, and I'll admit it. I think we are both that person.
Yep.
And then there's the other camp of person that's like, well, I'm not motivated by money. I like helping people. I'm motivated by helping people.
Liars, we call them.
Yeah. I think that the where this disconnect happens is the belief that they are mutually exclusive.
Mhm.
They can be the same thing. You can be motivated by money and motivated by helping people, and they don't have to be one or the other. And I think that telling yourself that you're not motivated by money when you know that the goal is monetary in some respect means that you are motivated by money. But as long as you say that you're not, you will choke your own growth. Now, I always say to coaches that then continue to argue with me, well, no, I just like helping people. It's like, well, why are you not in Syria digging people out of the rocks for free with the British Red Cross just now?
Yeah.
Well,
But
I don't like helping people that much. I am motivated by money a little bit.
But I think that's where the privileged position comes in. You get to it, you realize that the money's not the thing, but you realize that the helping people facilitates the rest. So if you focus on one, the other comes. Whereas I think for a long time I focused solely on the financial side and the chasing the numbers and chasing the client numbers and chasing the big months and chasing all the other shit that came along with it.
I think you have to start
Yeah.
with, because you are chasing the thing that you don't have. And in the first case, as any coach who wasn't gifted any kind of financial security, even if you were, the goal is money at the start. Like, you need to sustain life for you, whatever that looks like. So you are monetarily driven. For me, it was getting away from the kind of crippling debt of divorce, and that's fine. But that, after a certain point, I think the point you're making is like, you have enough.
Mhm.
more than you would need to continue living for the rest of your life. And then the motivation changes, and whilst it is still money, it becomes almost gamified. It's just like, what else is there? What's the next level? What's behind the next fucking curtain? And that's the part where it moves from the fucking slog of this slow uphill to like quantum leaps. Supplement companies.
Yeah, but I guess the best way I can put this back to you is, if we talk about freedom again, obviously freedom means different things for different people. At the time, I thought it was freedom in terms of doing what I want, but the ironic thing is I probably have less freedom now whenever it comes to like doing the work. Like the work has to happen no matter what. But the money side facilitates the other things, and I think we can both agree that some of my favorite things about the business that I run is being able to do events and bring the people together, which is
100%.
by no means like financial at all. It's the opposite. Would not recommend. But it's the building something that people want to be a part of, like building the fucking cool thing. And like I joked about it after the Colorado event, which was like May 2023. I remember stood beside Dave in his office, and I was like, there's a real, like, this is a fucking, can be a mission, like this is a movement within the industry, like to be able to build that. And if I think way back to where I came from, being a fucking complete pisshead, like to even have that opportunity as a thought, that to me was like, right, okay, well, I can now facilitate these things because of the stuff that I have done up until this point. The workload just increases and it's different, but the freedom to use the resources for other things is what motivates me now.
100%. And I think like you chase freedom, and both you and I think have a similar definition where you're free. Once you reach a certain financial threshold, I think we can agree you have the freedom to do what you want. And I've already said I've never worked harder than the last 7 to 14 days.
Good, more?
That is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the freedom to do more of that. But I think freedom in the earlier days roughly translates to like options, like choice of any description. Because right now it's like I have no choice but to work.
But it's when you start, you don't have the choice because you need people to pay you. So if someone's willing to, you don't have the option. I mean, you do, but it doesn't make any sense to say no to people. Whereas now, if something's not working out with a client or you don't get a good vibe with them, like you don't have to have them. You don't have to have those people around you.
Freedom.
Yeah, that is a
freedom to choose. Where it's like, no, Stephen, you seem like an asshole,
yeah,
and you don't have to be rude about it.
But even
be.
To the point of, a couple people have asked me, can I coach them 1-to-1 in the gym? And like, yes, I have the thought of like, I could just make it an absolutely ridiculous number, and if they pay it, that's absolutely fine. I'll deal with it. And if they don't want to do it, then that's absolutely fine. It'll be no difference to me whatsoever. But it keeps coming back to am I prepared to at 7 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday morning to be there for somebody else? I'm just absolutely not in for it whatsoever. And I'll say that's a me thing. It's not an everybody thing. Some people like coaching in person, whatever. And I think that, understanding that for yourself is key. But for me, it's the freedom to, okay, right, well, today I want to do this, so this is what I'm going to do, and not that, fuck's sake, I have to do this.
My brain's thinking about this though, that I think a lot of the coaches that I've met in this job and as a coach, what they want to do, I think, is just sit around like it appears we are doing right now. But I think, like, that they want to, I just want to travel a lot and just fuck off on holiday, but I think a lot of the time they misunderstand the amount of work taken to build a business that operates that autonomously to you. And I don't expect everyone else to have the same degree of, I like where I want to work. Because, like, for example, we've been here on the island for maybe 4 hours, 6 hours actually, roughly speaking, 6 hours we've been on the island. We went straight to the venue, worked, drove here, set up, went to the supermarket and started filming a fucking podcast. Everyone else is at the table working.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people want their idea of freedom is maybe a bit twisted, and I think is at odds with their financial goals, and I think that's a big one. Where I'm just gonna fucking say it. I think a lot of people are lazy.
100%. They like that. I guess they like the idea of it, and I've said this before. It's like, I'll use myself as an example. Like they like he gets to go to America and do this, and he hosts these events in these cool places, and he coaches hackers and whatever else. But it's the would they like to live the day-to-day reality of what I have to do? Potentially not. And then that comes right back to the what are you willing to sacrifice, what are you not willing to sacrifice.
It's the Jimmy Carr thing, though, is it? It's the everyone wants what you want, not what it took to get there. Is it not Jimmy Carr? I think it is. Chris Williamson claims it, but I mean, he claims everyone else's quote, so he's just a quote vending machine at this point. But I think it is that that everyone kind of likes. I think if people are lazy, I think people are generally work shy, and I think often uninformed in the amount of work that it will take to get to where they want to go, and that's okay. Once you become informed, you've got to decide whether to change your goals or your behaviour. And for a lot of coaches I work with, I see that as one of the biggest internal battles is, I want to earn X, but I don't want workload X.
Yeah.
So, well, the goal of the behaviour has to change. It's like the client that, I think people like the outcome, not necessarily what it takes to get the outcome. So like the client that wants to lose lots of weight or get really fit, but fucking hates exercise, will not sustain the repeated task that they dislike. So I think for me, the crux of all of this conversation has been, until you fall in love with like the fucking work, like just the boring, mundane, when no one's clapping, when there's no money coming in like today, when there's no new client sign up.
But that's what we said recently. Like I feel like for the past month, 2 months, I've been working at 500%, and there's no immediate feedback of like, this is the thing, there's more clients, or there's more finance, but it's the other side of on the business stuff, to building it with, again, just fucking blind faith and a little bit more I guess evidence of past behaviors and past outcomes that it will work. And that's the bit that I prefer, like that, the building it and the working at that capacity to have the thing at the end go, fuck, I did that thing. And that was the same with the gym, it was the same with the supplements company.
Even if it's not the thing though, because I think you're right, but I disagree with you on your behalf in terms of my reflection of you and me. But talking about you here is, okay, you're like, I do all the hard work and like, oh my god, I've got this thing at the end. I don't think you're motivated as much by the thing as you are like, oh my god, I've never done that much work and it fucking feels good to have like expanded what I perceive to be the limit of work that I could do. And don't get it twisted if you're sitting watching or listening, it's like, okay, so I just need to do more hours. Not necessarily. If you're in the gym training like a fucking asshole, doing more hours in the gym doesn't make it better. More of the wrong things is more of the wrong outcomes. So I think for you is as much I think I understand you enough to say that I think the pleasure you derive comes from, the hours, but like the toil, like the fucking struggle of like, I am wrestling this shit over the line this week.
Yeah, but I said this to you the past week, and I'll say this. I don't know how many times per day or per week I say, me and Matt were talking about, but that's literally the reality that we live. I was talking about earning my seat at the table, what that is, and it's just the ability to do the thing at a rate that people cannot comprehend. And while some people will never understand that, like I enjoy the ability to be that person. Like I enjoy the ability to, I guess, in the best way possible, like show what is possible. And I'll say the other side of it, it's not for everybody. And I think, again, listening to that Chris Williamson Hormozi podcast today, like there's people who will be happy to get to a level and they have made it, they have got there quicker and they have done the thing and they're happy with, they know how much money they make, they know how many clients they can manage, they know the work-life balance and all the other shit that they're, that's on them, and that's fine. But that's not me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's that you need to be, I think to kind of like conclude it, I think you need to know what you're willing to sacrifice for the goal that you're outlining. So if we started by saying you need to clearly define the goal, be that monetary or whatever else, great, you're halfway there now. The next part is, what are you willing to give up and what are you not willing to give up? Because I think if we're both honest, we've given up absolutely everything besides a small handful of things. Mm-hmm. And I am not here to proclaim that anyone else should do that. I'm saying you could do that. And I think that boils down then when you do choose to do that the goal becomes closing loops faster than everyone else.
Yeah.
And then I'll bite off things that are bigger than I can chew to prove to myself that I can chew them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lovely place to cap out for our first rambling from the villa.
Yeah.
Anything to add in closing?
I just think that it's the understanding that it's a moving goalpost. Like, I think understanding that, you know, the idea that you have right now will potentially be quite different. And again, the thought process that I'm having is, right, okay, well, I've gotten it to this level, like, how far can it go? And I think that that is definitely an environment thing, and it's definitely a seeing what other people are achieving. And I will say, like, one huge benefit that I find with the people that I work with is just being in a completely different space and seeing, you know, people who run $100 million companies, $1 billion companies. I'm like, well, if these motherfuckers can do it, like, there is a way to do it, and it's just being open to, like, knowing that these things are possible and understanding that the one thing that you've at one time thought that you wanted that would be made it can shift, but also may not.
100%. Basically, in closing, then, we're not the smartest, we're not the most educated, we're not the most qualified, but I think you are the hardest working person I know.
I would say we're both relentless, ruthless.
There you go. So that's the conclusion. It's just, if you can get clear on the goal, what will you sacrifice, what won't you sacrifice, and then just be fucking ruthless in the day-to-day execution of that at the expense of everything on the sacrifice list for a long enough time horizon. And there's the cap out. The reframe for me to cap this out is, I put it in a carousel this week, this might take 5 years. And if you can apply that to everything we've just said, you will kick your goals square in the nutsack. So go kick your goals in the nutsack. We'll see you on the next one. Remember, most importantly, to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, guys, and join us in the next one. See ya.